This video covers our journey from the watery charm of the Netherlands through Belgium's historic heart, the tiny grandeur of Luxembourg, and into Germany's beer and cathedral country, about 20-plus days of trains, walks, and unforgettable moments. Our morning began with a train ride to downtown Amsterdam. Then, a short walk took me to Dam Square, where the Royal Palace stands. This big, open square feels like the living room of the city. Tourists snap photos everywhere. Pigeons walk around like they are in charge. On one corner is Madame Tussauds, the famous wax museum. Life-size celebrities look out from the windows with strange smiles. We decided not to go inside today as we planned for real art and real canals, not wax figures. The square is full of energy. The big Nieuwe Kerk stands tall, the National Monument watches over everything, and trams and bicycles keep moving all around. Amsterdam is a city that never really stops. From Dam Square, we wander south through the bustling shopping streets, past flower stalls and cheese shops, until we reach the Museumplein, a wide green square framed by world-class museums. The Van Gogh Museum awaits its modern glass entrance glowing in the daylight. Inside, the colors hit like a wave, self-portraits, the vibrant yellow in the bedroom in Aries, and the nature's raw power captured in the view of the sea at Scheveningen. The museum is crowded but reverent. Everyone moves quietly, as if afraid to disturb the paintings. We board a classic open-top canal boat for a leisurely hour-long cruise. The boat glides under arched stone bridges, past elegant gabled houses leaning gently over the water. The guide points out hidden courtyards, houseboats with rooftop gardens, and the famous dancing houses on the canals. We pass beneath the Magereybrug, skinny bridge, its lights twinkling even in daylight. The light rain and breeze carries the scent of fresh stroopwafels from nearby vendors, pure Amsterdam magic. We head toward the red light district, De Wallen, down narrow streets and over small bridges. The area is actually pretty quiet, likely because we visited in the morning. We walked along the main canal lined with the iconic red-lit rooms, coffee shops, and historic churches. We kept on moving, enjoying the energy without lingering too long, then looped back toward quieter streets for some food. We can't leave Amsterdam without paying a visit at the open-air windmill park in Zaandam. The iconic green wooden windmills rise against a blue sky, their sails turning lazily in the breeze. We wander the paths, duck into working mills where you can see traditional sawing or oil pressing, smell fresh cheese at the dairy shop, and browse wooden clog workshops. It's like stepping back centuries, quiet, picturesque, and refreshingly free of crowds compared to central Amsterdam. The contrast is perfect, from the urban buzz of canals and squares to this peaceful slice of Dutch heritage. Some photos snaps from strolling the streets of Zaandam and Amsterdam. Welcome to Rotterdam, Holland's bold rebuilt city that feels like the future. We stepped off the train at Rotterdam Central Station, and wow, the first thing that hits you is the sea of bikes. Right outside the sleek modern entrance, there's this insane outdoor parking area. It's like a bicycle metropolis, hidden under the square, and the whole scene screams Dutch bike culture. Very impressive. Walking over Rotterdam's most iconic landmark, the Erasmus Bridge, nicknamed the Swan for its elegant harp-like shape. You get epic views of the Nieuwe Maas River, Holland-America cruise line docking by the harbor, massive cargo ships gliding by, and the skyline on both sides, north and south, connected by this 800-meter stunner. Built in the 90s, it's more than a bridge. It's the symbol of Rotterdam's rebirth after the war. The Maritime Museum Rotterdam, tucked right along the waterfront. This place dives deep into 600 years of Dutch seafaring history. Think massive model ships, old maps, interactive exhibits on ports and trade, and a cool outdoor harbor with historic vessels you can board. We spent a couple of hours wandering through the stories of explorers, merchants, and the harbor that made Rotterdam Europe's biggest port. It's hands-on and fascinating, especially if you love anything nautical. This is the Market Hall, Rotterdam's jaw-dropping indoor food hall and probably the best international food court in the city. This horseshoe-shaped building is an architectural stunner itself, with colorful murals arching overhead and over 100 stalls underneath serving everything from Dutch herring to Asia and Mideastern food. The windows over the arch are of the residential apartments. Smoked herring tasted fantastic, and so is the other seafood dish we tasted here. I had to give a try to the dragon breath ball as I was curious after seeing how it was made. The colorful balls were actually freezing and extremely cold when biting into, and of course the white smoke came out of my mouth, and my nose was a fun experience. Rotterdam isn't your postcard pretty Amsterdam. It's raw, innovative, and full of surprises. If you're into modern architecture, maritime history, and eating your way around the world, this city delivers. Antwerp, Belgium's diamond capital, and a city that packs serious style. We arrived at Antwerp Central Station, often called the Railway Cathedral. Stepping inside is like entering a grand neo-Baroque palace. Massive stone arches, intricate details, a soaring dome, and that iconic iron and glass train hall. It's stunning, and voted for one of the world's most beautiful stations. Outside on Koningin Astridplein, the square in front, the vibe keeps going. Bikes everywhere, and right across the street sits Chocolate Nation, the world's largest Belgian chocolate museum. We popped in for a sweet tour, cocoa history, tastings of 10 flavors, and all the stories of how Antwerp became a chocolate powerhouse. Pure indulgence. Next to the central station, tucked in the corner, is the Antwerp Zoo, for which we didn't have time for but could be very interesting. A short walk took us to Antwerp's absolute highlight, the Grote Markt, meaning the Great Market Square. This compact historic square is surrounded by a ring of colorful guild houses, those ornate, gabled buildings in reds, golds, and blacks, each with its own quirky statue on top. Dominating the center is the Brabo Fountain, a dramatic bronze sculpture from 1887, showing the legendary hero Silvius Brabo hurling a giant's severed hand into the Scheldt, the origin of Antwerp's name, handwerpen, hand-throwing. The water splashes around the base, flags wave from the guild houses, and the whole scene feels like a fairy tale postcard. The city hall, Stadhuis, anchors one side with its Renaissance facade, perfect spot to grab a coffee at a terrace cafe and just soak it all in. Antwerp was a good surprise to us. It's got that mix of grandeur, history, and everyday charm without the crowds of major cities. From the architectural wow of the station to chocolate heaven and the golden glow of the Great Market Square, this city delivers big. If you're in Belgium, don't skip it. You won't regret it. Brussels, the quirky heart of Europe, chocolate, comics, and some of the most stunning squares and landmarks you'll ever see. Here is the absolute showstopper, the Grand Place, Brussels' most famous square, and the spot where the legendary Belgian Beer Weekend Festival takes over every year. This UNESCO-listed gem is surrounded by opulent guild houses in gold, red, and black, their gabled roofs and statues gleaming in the sunlight. The cobblestones sparkle, the town hall towers dramatically, and the whole place feels like a living Baroque painting. We were lucky to see firsthand of a beer weekend. It's packed with tents pouring hundreds of brews, music, and crowd. Pure Belgian joy. The Cinquantenaire Park and its massive triumphal arch, Brussels' own Gate of Triumph, built for Belgium's 50th anniversary. The European Quarter, the true hub of the European Union. This is where the EU's main institutions are based, the iconic star-shaped Berlaymont building, headquarters of the European Commission, the European Parliament, with its glass dome and hemicycle, and the Council of the European Union, Justus Lipsius building. Plenty of modern glass towers, flags of all 27 member states fluttering, and a mix of suits and tourists. It's a powerful reminder that Brussels is the de facto capital of the EU, buzzing with international energy. This is the elegant Royal Palace of Brussels, Palais Royal, the official workplace of the king, though the family lives elsewhere. Perched on the edge of Brussels Park, its neoclassical facade is impressive, long white columns, grand balconies, and all that royal vibe. We were quite impressed by Brussels' architecture and how they preserved them. They literally keep the facade from old buildings during the rebuild process. Brussels is that rare mix: historic beauty, beer-fueled fun, and royal elegance, all in one compact city. I strongly recommend the fruity beer made here in Belgium. It is a perfect balance of bitterness and sweet. Other interesting places here in Brussels are Atomic Park, the Mannequin Piss, the flea market, and the wall murals. And of course the food, the Belgian beer, especially the fruity type, it was fantastic. Welcome to Luxembourg City. This tiny capital packs a massive punch with its dramatic cliffs, fairy tale views, and hidden history. We started in the upper town Ville Haute, the historic plateau heart of the city. It's all elegant streets, grand buildings, restaurants, and open squares. Also, there are banks everywhere. We wandered past the Grand Ducal Palace, Notre Dame Cathedral, and buzzing Place Guillaume II. Luxembourg has over 120 international banks, and the financial sector contributes around 25% of Luxembourg's total GDP. Standing here on the high cliffs of the city's upper town, looking down, the old city spreads out below like a fairy tale picture. Old church, narrow streets, and the river Alzette winding through the deep green valley. Ancient walls and towers rise up from the gorge, quiet and beautiful. Hidden deep under the city lies the Bock Casemates, a maze of tunnels carved into the rock more than 300 years ago. These tunnels were used to protect the city during wars, to hide soldiers, and to store food and weapons. Today, you can still walk through the cool, dark passages and look out from openings high above the city. The Bock Casemates are part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site because they show how important and well-protected Luxembourg once was. We love this place because despite its size, Luxembourg offers unique geography and a mix of forested highlands, gentle valleys, rivers, and green expanses, making it surprisingly scenic and varied for hiking, cycling, and nature escapes. It is time to head out to Munich. Munich, Bavaria's vibrant capital where history, modern vibes, and beer gardens collide. We start at the Olympia Park, site of the 1972 Summer Olympics, and sadly the tragic Munich massacre, where 11 Israeli athletes were killed by Palestinian terrorists. The park still carries that quiet weight, the iconic tent-like Olympic Stadium roof, the Olympic Tower rising high, and the memorial stones near the athlete village. Walking the grounds feels reflective, beautiful architecture mixed with somber history. It was encouraging to see that the facilities are still being used to promote healthy living and to benefit people who love sports. Right next door is the former Olympic village, Olympisches Dorf, now repurposed as student dorms for the Technical University of Munich. The colorful murals covering the exterior walls are striking, bold, abstract, and full of energy, painted by students over the years. It's a living canvas that turns a place of tragedy into something creative and youthful. The roar of rushing water caught our attention at the Englischer Garten Park. Welcome to Eisbach, a crystal-clear canal fed by the Isar River, Munich's secret surf spot since the 1970s. Who said you need the ocean to surf? I think this is a smart way to utilize what you have access to and enjoy challenging the strong current. The Hofgarten Munich is located between the Residence Museum and the State Chancellery. At the center of the park is the Temple of Diana Munich, an octagonal pavilion that is often considered a landmark of the Hofgarten. The ornate ceiling, the open round arches, and the clear symmetry of the building make it a popular meeting place. Right on the edge of the Hofgarten, you will find the Hofgarten Arcades, also known as the Arcades of the Residents, an artistically designed walkway that welcomes you with stylish arches, fine frescoes, and a sheltered atmosphere. Step into the quiet, dimly lit reliquaries room of the Munich Residence Museum. The intimate chamber holds around 60 extraordinary reliquaries, precious containers crafted mostly between 1590 and 1640 by master goldsmiths from Munich and Augsburg. Highlights include figural pieces that give saints a vivid, almost lifelike presence. In the 19th century, these were still seen as the palace's greatest treasure. Today, they whisper of faith, artistry, and royal devotion. Court Church of All Saints actually resides inside the residence and was rebuilt after World War II. The architecture is such a contrast with its red brick interiors. This church is used mostly for concerts and events nowadays. Right in the beating heart of Munich, Marienplatz, stands the magnificent new town hall, and high in its tower is one of the city's most beloved icons, the Rathaus Glockenspiel. Up top, the lavish wedding of Duke Wilhelm V and Renata of Lorraine, complete with knights in colorful armor jousting on horseback. Below, the joyful Schefflertanz, the Cooper's Dance, where barrel makers twirl hoops and celebrate the end of the plague in 1517, bringing hope and rhythm back to the streets. In the bustling pedestrian zone of Munich rises the majestic Michaelskirche, St. Michael's Church, the largest Renaissance church north of the Alps. Built between 1583 and 1597 by Duke Wilhelm V as a bold symbol of the Catholic Counter-Reformation, it's modeled on Rome's Il Gesù, but surpasses it in scale. The striking white facade, with its dramatic gable and niches filled with statues of the Wittelsbach dynasty rulers, greets you like a royal declaration. Step inside, and the space opens up in breathtaking light and height. A soaring 20-meter-wide barrel vault, the second largest cantilevered one in the world after St. Peter's Basilica, stretches overhead like a vast, stuccoed sky. The nave feels immense yet harmonious, flooded by windows and lined with elegant side chapels. Ludwig II, the fairy tale king, is buried in its royal crypt. Michaelskirche isn't just a church, it's a masterpiece of Renaissance power and Baroque elegance, whispering centuries of Bavarian history in every echoing step. We totally enjoyed our stay here in Munich. Our next stop is the city of Cologne, and we look forward to it. Upon arriving in Cologne by train, our first glimpse of the Cologne Cathedral, Kölner Dom, rising like a stone miracle straight from the Middle Ages, its twin spires piercing the sky at 157 meters, the tallest twin-spired church on Earth. Construction began in 1248 until completion in 1880. This UNESCO World Heritage masterpiece is pure high Gothic perfection. Soaring pointed arches, flying buttresses, intricate tracery, and the world's largest church facade, alive with thousands of statues, gargoyles, and biblical scenes. The dark stone seems to absorb the light, yet inside, the vast nave explodes in color. Over 10,000 square meters of stunning stained glass windows flood the space with rainbows, while the choir soars heavenward under the ribbed vault. Stand beneath those immense towers, feel the weight of history, and hear the bells echo across the Rhine. Survived wars, bombings, and time itself, Cologne Cathedral is Germany's beating heart of faith, artistry, and resilience. This is much more than a cathedral. Just steps from the soaring spires of Cologne Cathedral, the mighty Hohenzollern Bridge stretches across the Rhine, a steel giant. But what catches our eye is the railings, like a shimmering sea of color, by hundreds of thousands of lovelocks. Couples from around the world have come here to snap a padlock shut on their vows, then toss the key into the flowing Rhine below since 2008. There are approximately over 300,000 lovelocks on the bridge. The Hannen City Gate is one of the most prominent and well-preserved medieval city gates in Cologne, Germany. Built between 1235 and 1240, it served as the western entrance to the city and was the ceremonial gateway through which German kings passed after their coronation in Aachen to visit the shrine of the Three Magi in Cologne Cathedral. While we were in Cologne, we decided to make a side trip to Bonn, the charming Rhineland city on the banks of the mighty Rhine, quiet, elegant, and forever tied to one of music's greatest geniuses, Ludwig van Beethoven. Here, in December 1770, in a modest townhouse at Bongasse 20, the world welcomed the composer who would reshape classical music forever. Beethoven spent his early years in Bonn before heading to Vienna, but the city never forgot its son. The Remigiuskirche, St. Remigius Church, here in Bonn, is a beautiful Gothic three-aisled pillar basilica. Construction began around 1274-1275, completion around 1307 to 1317, and built primarily from tuff stone, a local volcanic rock. It sits on a quiet street but has a major tie to the child prodigy. Young Ludwig van Beethoven, aged about 12, substituted as organist here, playing morning mass. It's often called one of the places where his musical talent first shone publicly. Continue strolling on the streets and notice the flags on the building advertising the upcoming Beethoven Music Festival in town. At the town center square, vendors were preparing their booth for the morning market. The Old Town Hall is a historic Rococo-style building, constructed between 1737 and 1738. As our journey through the heart of Western Europe draws to a close, what impressed us the most were the Van Gogh museums of Amsterdam, the bold modern architecture and harbor vibes of Rotterdam, the Gothic grandeur of Antwerp, the squares of Brussels, the tiny but mighty cliffs and casemates of Luxembourg City, the beer halls and Olympic legacy of Munich, the majestic Cologne Cathedral echoing over the Rhine, all the way to the birthplace of Beethoven in peaceful Bonn, and all of these are packed into this compact region. Thank you for viewing.